Evening, everybody. This is the Hawk again. This is Craig Montgomery. So, this message is for Julius Malema. You racist, ignorant, disrespectful simpleton. Let me explain something to you. Your actions and irresponsible behavior create untold misery for certain people. Because by inciting the crowds into your irresponsible speeches, you the one that is causing division in South Africa. You the one that is talking about races. You don't talk about a country as South Africans. You talk about colors and race. And you only talk about black people. Let me educate you. The xenophobia that's going on in South Africa was created because of the lack of jobs, not because the lack of investments. And the lack of jobs is because of an irresponsible government that's had 25 years to set up and make it viable for international companies that are not white, that are international companies, that are shareholders, that are races of every race in the world, to invest their money in a country that is safe, that has law-abiding people. Not police stations that close at 6 o'clock and have to hire security guards. Not a government where the state capture is all about stealing. Not one person under Ramaphosa has been put in jail for corruption. And yet you blame white people for the lack of jobs in South Africa. And this is causing xenophobia, so it's white people's problem. When the ANC came to power, there was 30,000 commercial farms in South Africa. It has now been established that one farmer is murdered once a week in South Africa. Your name has come up as an instigator and hirer of killers that are attacking farms. In your rhetoric, in many of your speeches, is about taking the land and how you will sit around the fire one day and boast about what you did to ensure that the land goes back to the people. But I want you to remember my name. And as I told you before, 2 years ago, 2+ years ago, we're going to hold you accountable for crimes against humanity. You and your sick brethren in the EFF and your sick brother Andile Masatano from the BLF. We are going to hold you accountable for crimes against humanity. We are now going to systematically find out who is funding the EFF and hold them accountable for crimes against humanity. Because of your irresponsible speeches, you are creating untold death. Because simpletons that listen to this feel it's their obligation to go and attack white people. Because they didn't invest in the country. Why would you invest in a country where there's crime, absolute mayhem? Police are robbed, that they have to get insurance, security companies. Your school education is 25% to pass. Children want smoke breaks. Who would want to invest in a country where the children rule the schools? Who wants to invest in a country where the government forces white investors or black investors or any investors to have a black partner from that country for 51% of their shares in the company? Nobody's going to invest with you. Nobody cares. Nobody wants nothing. They're going to let you rot in hell. That's what's going to happen. My advice to everybody in South Africa right now is stay inside till past the second, and stock up on food and water and fuel for your generators. Because if no trucks are running, you've got nothing. The shops will be empty within a week. Malema doesn't want borders. You're just asking for trouble. Nigerians are the biggest scammers there is in the world. Everybody knows that. They're the biggest internet scammers and the biggest drug dealers in Africa. Everybody knows it. In Natal, they're sick of it, so they're attacking them. They're not all guilty. I agree. But Malema, you take your children to white schools, not black schools, to the Afrikaans white schools. And you have stated this before. And yet you scream your rhetoric about white people. Your security company that protects your sorry ass is a white company. The clothes you wear are made by white people in Italy. Your wife lives in a very nice house while the people suffer and live in the townships and listen to your nonsense. Because you don't have solutions to South Africa. You just blame. You use racism as an excuse for your own inept abilities to do anything. There are other black people out there that talk to me every day who have better ideas, better solutions than you will ever have, because your whole rhetoric is about racism. You have nothing else to offer but racism. You're a fool, an irresponsible fool, just like Ramaphosa, going to the G7, and they didn't even recognize him there. He made a complete and utter fool of himself, that the American newspapers were saying, who is this unidentified gentleman standing there? They didn't even know who he was, while he stood there like a Cheshire cat, hoping that they would give him crumbs, because they're well aware that he's a human rights violator. Now, facts are facts. When this is all done, we will find out who is funding the EFF. We will also find out who is behind the farm murders. And one day, you will face me in international court for crimes against humanity, you simpleton. You have not explained to the black people of South Africa, to the Gokos, where is the money from the VBC bank that you stole? You blame white people, but you are just as corrupt as they are. You say the white people, the white people. No, it's the white people that built up South Africa with the help of black people that had it far better off during the apartheid time. In 25 years, the country's gone to hell. Don't blame white people for your crimes. No white man wants a war. No white man wants crime. No white man wants anything. All he wants to do is live in peace. So do Indians. So do coloreds. Coloreds, right now, they're desperate for land. What are you doing? You're shipping people into their properties, demanding housing when they need the housing. They've been waiting for years and years, even under the apartheid thing. The government sent army into the Cape Flats only to stand around and do nothing, while 40 murders in the first weekend. The army did nothing but waste the taxpayers' money. What have you passed? What have you offered since you've been in power, in Parliament? Nothing. Nothing. You just took the taxpayers' money and drove around and started screaming racism. You haven't offered nothing. All we see in Parliament is your fools in red overalls causing mayhem and talking absolute nonsense. And come to find out that your people were taking bribes from the ANC right from the beginning. So who do you really belong to? The ANC or you EFF? We don't really know. And the DA taking money from the Guptas? No, you're just a simpleton. You have nothing to offer your people but racism. You want investments? Stop the crime. You want investments? Get rid of the BEE laws. You want investments? Get rid of the racism. Every single child born in that country since 350 years is a South African in the story. You could talk as much as you like about black people, and where you come from and whatever. It doesn't matter. Go to America. Go tell 300 million people here that they need to go back to where they came from. They'll laugh at you. They will laugh at you. It's like telling a Pakistani person or an Indian person in England to go back to Pakistan or India because they were born in London or England. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Their police force in South Africa is completely inept, cannot stop what's coming. The army's overweight, overfat, overpaid, and useless, have no tools to fight with. Because you don't know how to run a country. You cannot put a terrorist organization in a country and tell it to run it, when most of them are just criminals. Not one person has gone to jail for corruption in the ANC since Ramaphosa's been in there. Not one person. You've arrested a lot of white people. And this guy that so-called had an accident the other day at the airport, there's no body, there's no blood, there's no not even a plane ticket for this guy. There's another bunch of nonsense right there. The guy's not dead. We all know that. Don't tell me he's a God-fearing guy when he's sending you money all the time. Funny how the commission checking on state capture, suddenly the witnesses are disappearing out of the country because they're scared they will be murdered. While Zuma gets page through pages of stuff. Why aren't you talking about that, you dumb fool? You're always just blaming white people. Julius, Malema, remember my name. Because we're coming for you now. We've had enough. You and your racism, that's a human rights violation right there. You taking land from people, that's a human rights violation right there. As for Belgium, you should be a disgrace to you. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're giving a racist, terrorist government money to actually commit human rights violations by taking land from people without paying them for it. England, Boris, the new president, prime minister, you need to reverse what Theresa May did by sending £50 million to a terrorist organization in South Africa to commit human rights violations. These are things Malema should be worried about. As for the aid that's coming into South Africa from the United States, I can guarantee you we're going to cut that off too. In the end, you'll be eaten. Yes, you will be the son of the soil, because that's all you'll have left to eat, the soil. We warned you guys 2.5 years ago not to go down this path, and yet you continue. Since the announcement of land reform in South Africa, as I said 2.5 years ago, it's an irresponsible decision that will create untold misery and harm to a lot of people. Since then, there's been an escalation in farm attacks, rapes, torture, and murder. Crime is rampant. Police can't control it. They're even locking up their police stations and sometimes just abandoning them at night. Captains saying, oh, crime's so bad, at 6 o'clock we have to go. What? No wonder nobody's investing in the country. Don't blame white people. You can't run the country. Stop. The problem is you have nepotism, family members, inept family members running the country. You can't do that. There are educated, highly qualified people that can run a country, and it's got nothing to do with race. It's got to do with ability, and it's got to do with corruption, and corruption itself is a human rights violation. And Julius Malema, you know leader's ass. You never will be, and you will never ever run that country. I can guarantee you that. We are now coming for you. We've had enough. No more racism, no more screaming white man, and believe me, like you said in that interview, we're not killing white people just yet. Remember what you said, because the day you start is the day you'll make the biggest mistake of your life. And we know that you're behind the farm murders as well. And as soon as we can get you, we will. Believe me, we're coming for you now. Remember, when you point a finger, there's 3 looking back at you, and God knows the truth. Remember my name. We're coming. You made a mistake. It's easy to talk to people that you don't know and incite them to kill. You made a mistake. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. Send this message to Julius Malema. My name is Craig Montgomery. I'm the Hawk, and we are coming. We're going to find out everything there is about the EFF, right down to who funded them in the beginning, how they were established, and where they came from and why. And if it's coming out of Britain, we'll find out. If it's coming out of Absa Bank, we'll find out. But no more racism. This is the 21st century. It's going to stop. It's going to stop. Leave the white people alone. I'm warning you. Leave the white people alone. I'm out of here.